most cases, when a special force operator heads out into the field, regardless of the mission, there is one weapon they will always bring with them, their sidearm.
Most of the training that we did was with handguns, so the handgun training systems were incredibly intense. We would go through 400 rounds of ammunition every morning for 6-month periods.
A very popular sidearm used in militaries and police forces today is the Sig Sauer P226 and the official sidearm of the US Navy SEALs. Pistols are at times the best weapon for close personal defense, and in a pinch may make the difference between an operator completing a mission and getting out alive. Just to the west of Russia, the country of Norway has recently experienced tragic events, proving that even the most peaceful of countries can benefit from special operations forces.
The Norwegian Warfighter Spesialkommando is unique because it draws on both the American Navy SEALs traditions and the British Special Boat Service and Special Air Service.
The FSK have been involved in the conflicts in Kosovo and more recently in Afghanistan. During peacetime, they are tasked with protecting the Norwegian royal family and top government officials.
But it's really the Norwegian environment that makes them unique.
Because of the high Norwegian Delta and their training areas in the Arctic, they are among the world's best Arctic troops, without a doubt.
Other than Arctic combat, the FSK are trained for a very specific purpose.
The primary mission of the Norwegians is to protect the oil rigs and their strategic importance. If you take away oil, you're essentially taking away gasoline.
The oil platforms can be very vulnerable to terrorist attack. The training that the Norwegian Naval and Coastal Ranger Special Forces go through is an environment in the North Sea and the Arctic Sea, where if a man goes into the water unprotected, he will die in less than 3 minutes from hypothermia. But this is their normal operating environment.
The Australian Special Air Service Regiment, or SASR, is another special operations force whose abilities are shaped by their terrain. Renowned for their skill in reconnaissance, the SASR have been well adapted to assignments in the Middle East, with the outback as their training ground.
They have a very hard training system, a very hard selection system. They were involved in Afghanistan to a limited degree in association with other special forces and in Iraq. Reconnaissance was their main role, going in, finding camps and bringing in the main infantry to actually attack the targets that they discovered and found.
Their training in the harsh desert and gathering intel made them very popular with other countries fighting in the Middle East. As you will see, working with other nations is a large part of being a special operations force. With so many of today's missions taking place in urban environments, weapons designed for close quarters combat are key. Whether it's a raid on a building or a shipping vessel, operators want a gun that's maneuverable, something that can quickly take down the enemy in front of them, but not the innocent people in the next room. The Daniel Defense Mk-18 is a lightweight, short-barreled rifle. The Mk-18 sacrifices power and range for lightning-fast targeting up close. This style of weapon is extremely popular with special operations forces. While wars and terrorist attacks may single out certain countries, their effects go beyond borders, threatening entire cultures and economies. The need for different countries' militaries to work together is greater than ever. The recent wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were a chance for the coalitions involved to prove themselves and their special operations forces.
The remarkably high levels of cooperation between special operation units in Iraq and Afghanistan have been achieved through the innate professionalism of these units and the understanding of the need for cooperation to fight the kind of enemies that we're up against.
Dealing with so many cultures and languages, especially in a hostile environment, can be frustrating, but sometimes there are those who transcend those barriers. One team in particular is extremely popular among many of their fellow Tier 1 peers, the Polish Grom. The Grom are extremely active on the world stage. They never back down from a challenge and are famous for their determined spirit.
For me, war and terrorism is like a disease, like a plague, and the Grom is a medicine curing them.
The Tier 1 Polish counter-terrorist unit, Grom, comes from a Polish word, Grom meaning thunderbolt, but the acronym is Operational Mobile Reaction Group.
The Grom was created in 1990, and since then, I think it has become an honorable force in the Polish military system.
Polish Grom has a very wide range of experience now. They have participated in operations in support of United Nations requirements, such as Haiti. In 1994, they helped operate against armed criminal elements in the country, and again, with high regard.
In over 2 decades, the Grom claim to have never lost one of their own during an operation.
Yes, this is true. The Grom have never lost any of the soldiers during the war. Unfortunately, I have lost friends during a training accident back in Poland, but never during an operation.
Not only are the Grom efficient, but they're also an inspiration to many others.
Many people in the world think the real achievement is to kill someone. We think that a bigger achievement is to give somebody a life. I have taken part in the operation of recapturing hostages a couple of times, and there is nothing more moving than seeing tears in the eyes of an adult man who was released by us 5 minutes before he was to be executed.
The Polish Grom are just a charismatic bunch of guys.
I am happy to hear that everyone around from special units like the Grom. Why is this? Maybe because we feel like nothing is impossible. We're also a team of friends, and people are just happier in a friendly environment.
The Grom are known for their hard work and their hard play. It's been said that you don't want to try and bring these guys under the table.
The Polish Grom like to think that they can outdrink everyone else, and there may be some truth to that.
Is there anyone here who, after having done a hard and exhausting job, would not be willing to have a good time and have a drink?
The relationships built in training and operations are important for the future, but they can also help heal the past. In 1939, Germany started World War II when they invaded Poland. Today, the countries often work together.
The German Spec Ops team, the KSK, are very good operators and have excellent training. I value their famous German precision.
Created in 1997, the German Commandos Spezialkräfte, or the KSK, are the newest special operations forces to join the global stage.
We remember that our history between Poland and Germany was really complicated, but today we stand together with our former enemy, and together we create a better future. We create something which may help our countries, Europe, and the entire world.
Special operations make for many unexpected relationships. In the 1990s, European alliances were put to the test during the conflict in Kosovo. The Swedish Special Operations Forces, currently called the SOG, took a leading role in the area. The SOG are a highly secretive team, but have been involved in almost every major joint operation since its creation in 1994. The horrible atrocities occurring in Kosovo at the time had driven many Muslim migrants into Sweden.
The situation in Kosovo, in Bosnia, Serbia in the mid to late 90s was pretty grim. I mean, we had ethnic cleansing in what was otherwise a Western nation, and Spec Ops forces, specifically Tier 1 forces, were tasked with hunting down these war criminals.
The SOGs played a big part in stabilizing the region, and the two countries share a close relationship to this day. There is no relationship more mysterious than those involved in the United States force known as the OGA.
OGA is an acronym for Other Government Agency, which is basically a catch-all for lesser-known agencies that provide us with a lot of intelligence. You know, it's a team effort at the Tier 1 level.
It could be anything from the Federal Bureau of Investigation to the Department of Treasury to the Central Intelligence Agency to the National Security Agency, all of these offices and departments that help fight terrorism.
I've dealt with OGA on a number of occasions. They're critical to mission success. Again, they do a lot of that behind-the-scenes work that feeds you the information to go and do your work. Again, we are more of an action force as opposed to OGA typically mines all the information, figures out who's who and where they might be. And oftentimes that's the hardest part. I mean, look at the Bin Laden op. We chased that guy for a decade, and it wasn't the action arm of the military that found him, it was OGA that dug up where he was and then sent in a SEAL team to go grab them.
As more countries develop their own special operations forces, there is a greater opportunity for them to train and work together. In 2006, the Special Operation Command Europe created an annual event called Jackal Stone. Jackal Stone gives different special operations forces the chance to train together, share tactics, and to gain mutual respect from one another.
Our cooperation with other units in the world is very important as we exchange our tactics and experiences. Today, warfare evolves very quickly, so there is no other choice but to work together in order to be a step ahead of our enemies.
Terrorism doesn't always operate within borders. A plane full of Americans can be hijacked in Somalia and land in London. Complex situations like that can only be handled through established relationships and an understanding of one another's training.
The biggest reward is building those relationships and being able to tie into those in future conflicts.
As relationships and alliances continue to grow between special operations forces, the entire world becomes a safer place. Each country may face their own unique adversaries, but between the extreme training, the surgical precision, the fearless spirit, and the overcoming of impossible odds, rest assured that the best possible men are on the job.